Saint Bernard said, I learned more about God from the trees, the foliage, the greens. What Saint Bernard was saying is, by looking at nature, he learned more about the supreme God, by God who made nature in his own being. The saints say nature testifies to us. Nature talks to us about God. Nature brings us closer to God. Those trees, Saint Bernard said, I found more wisdom of God in those trees than in all the holy books and all the holy writ. He wasn't saying that he didn't believe that the Bible was from God. But what he was saying was that the trees preach God. The trees preach Jesus Christ. We have spring. During the time of spring, we have Easter. That is why Jesus, Easter. That is why Jesus rose from the dead. The rising of Jesus in Easter shows that life blossoms during Easter. Then we have, during the winter, Lent, the time of death, when Jesus went into the desert to die to sin. Extreme mortification of the soul, denying ourselves the pleasures of the transitory life which will pass away like a vapor. Then we have summer. And we have fall. In the fall we have Advent and the coming of Jesus. So if you look at it, nature itself preaches God. If you really, really believe in Jesus Christ and looking at nature, you'll understand about Jesus. Civilization. God told Adam to till the earth. From the thistles and the thorns of this earth you'll eat. It is through hard work that man eats. Whatever commandment God gave in the Bible, people do it. He told Adam and Eve to dress up when they wore that leaf in the Garden of Eden. Everybody wears clothes. Every tribe, every culture wears clothes, even the Native Americans, because we all come from God. And then God expressly says, marry your wife. Every tribe, every custom on earth marries. Whatever God said in the Garden of Eden, every tribe does. Work. Every tribe does that. The cornfields. You shall beat the earth and toil for your eat. The farmers. The similar stock where Jesus came from. The farmers. The farmlands. The life stirring out of the bus. I've said this a million times. Looking at the farmland, the vast stretch of farmlands from Illinois, drive through Wisconsin, North Dakota, South Dakota. Farming feed America. That is the cheeseburger, the bread, the cake, the potatoes. Everything you eat comes from these parts. That's why Jesus spoke to farmers. Jesus speaks about seeds. Because without the farmer, there's no food. Whereas some of us think our food comes from the supermarket. You're wrong. That is the food you eat. So when Jesus speaks in his parables, he talks about seed. Because he knows every generation will know about seed. America, the Midwest, more conservative in its parts. But beneath it all is a dark morality. It's just a facade now. People are living for pleasure. People are living for their desires. They have departed from the natural use that God made for them. So on this pilgrimage of mercy, we ask God to be merciful to us sinners, for we do wrong. And many a times we fall to our own sins. Dear God, greatly merciful God, infinite goodness, source of all life, be merciful to us sinners. I always go back to two sinners, It says there were two sinners on the cross. One said, I'm a sinner. I'm born this way. I'm a sinner. And the other said, I was born a sinner, Lord, but please forgive me. Which sinner are you, brethren? These are things that run through my mind as I battle every day the difficulties of Christian life as a Catholic. The churches are ravaged by wickedness. Beloved, let us keep pushing, always knowing that our end is in heaven. As Paul says, we're not fighting for anything that decomposes. We're about to get to Springfield, home of Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln worked to free the slaves. Wherever there is good, there is God. But let us not forget the Christians who fought hard to end slavery. Well, some of us will argue that Christianity brought slavery. But I tell you this, the Indians, the Africans, the pagans, the Indians, the Chinese, all had slaves. Slavery is caused by people dominating people. We like to dominate other people. Simple as bullying in schools. Jesus talks about slavery. He said, if you own slaves, treat your slaves with respect. And if you're a slave, honor your masters. What Jesus is saying is he's being pragmatic. He's saying, look, buddy, if you're a slave, you better work or you're going to get in trouble.